when the sky is overcast, but you get it when you get it. Sometimes in post-processing, you can help that along a little bit. You can maybe lighten up these shadows just a hair here and darken this up a little bit. Also, this out of focus part back here is pretty distracting. With this guy, either it all needs to be there or this really needs to soften up quite a bit more.
What about taking it out completely?
Well, as Jack says, you could take it out completely. That would be not too terribly hard to do given you've got the plain background. I don't know if some people are okay with removing that much of a picture and some people aren't, because that's like a third of the picture. But
Snowy playground.
What a pretty day. I'm tired of these days. Our subject's the snowy playground, but here it's small enough not to, it's kind of, the size of it isn't enough to impact the image. It's not too big or not too small, and I'll babble, I'll stop babbling that one. The problem is our whites are blown out here. Where we want to be here is not well exposed, and we've got all of this white up here and all the beautiful trees here, and I just kind of lose the subject, and also then now it's also cropped tightly down below. So changing angles a bit, changing exposure a bit would give you the impact you need with this.
Curious.
Once again, beautiful kid, nice colors, harsh light. It's just, there's no softness. Light is just a little bit overwhelming, and the background is a little bit distracting.
The face is soft.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, just a little softer light would have been nicer.
The pond's edge. 16.
What was it?
16.
the title tells me one thing, but when I look at the picture, I see something else. I'm looking at whatever these plants are and focusing on this, and whatever is in the background is sort of distracting here. The picture is not telling the same story as the title.
Hummingbird moth.
I've shot these guys, and they're not easy. The subject is not in focus. So as soon as the subject's not in focus, you lose that impact. It's very hot in here. You've got blown out whites. You've got this white along here that detracts. You need to fire these. I know when I've shot them, you just got to fire at a really fast rate. Got to watch your focus so that you're right on those eyes. And
More shutter.
yeah, you need a much faster shutter speed too. Yes.
Goldfinch in my backyard.
It's great exposure. The background's nicely blurred. Could have helped post-production to darken the perch a little bit so that your eye isn't drawn down to that light band across the bottom. The way the bird's head is cocked, the eye that's closest to us and that side of his face is a little bit dark. A little bit of light on that portion of the bird would have been helpful.
Hang on one sec. It would have been really helpful to me if you had aimed the camera down just a little bit. You've got lots of space above him, but you've cut off his feet and his tail, and you didn't have to.
Backyard lily.
graphic design of this one. Wish that the parts that are in focus were just even a little bit more in focus. But I love the fact that it's selective focus, that we're here and we're here. Love the complementary colors and shapes and the lines that gently guide us.
Dahlia.
These are always great subjects, but you have such darkness here in the center. You know, when this is so dark, you want to go to the lighter area, which you really don't want to focus in on. And you've got the interesting pattern here that brings you back. So playing with the light here, you know, it's the thing about photography, we keep talking about it, it's the light. You want your light on the subject. You want your subject where you want your eyes to pop. When light's on other things, they pop more, and you don't want them to pop. So you've got to really work on your exposures here. And also it's a little soft as well.
What was the score?
What was the score?
I don't remember. Did anybody hear?
Anybody hear
I
it?
think it was 16.
16 was it?
16.
Yeah, I think so.
That's not, okay. The transformation.
The sweep of the branch is pleasing. The background being so light and the main subject being dark, but not a complete silhouette, kind of, because it makes it a little bit difficult. And almost always a lighter subject against a darker background really pops.
You know, a flash would have popped up.
Mhm. But other than that, the composition's very, very nice.
Lily in my backyard.
Great exposure on this, and love the way the colors pop, and again, the selective focus on here. This is a great part of the image. Trouble is the background is distracting. Either in post, you might have cropped and come in a little bit tighter, cropping it in post, or blurring out some of your background in post. But seeing this, seeing these shapes, the white, more shapes over here, that takes away from how cool this part of the photo is.
So three-dimensional.
Fall colors.
You do not always need a subject in an image. You can have a texture or a pattern that is the image. But when you do, a trick is you squint your eyes and take a look at the image through squinted eyes and see what pops out at you. When you do that, you've got these hot lines here to kind of take us where I don't think we really want to go. I think it's the leaves that we want to be seeing, not the stems that are prominent because the light's just bouncing off of them. Here you've got hot here. So uneven lighting on an image that's supposed to be even makes too much energy to be pleasing. One other idea would be is like we saw it earlier in the flowers that had the yellow and the black and white. You know, one idea is maybe tone down all of this, go to black and white, and then maybe have one leaf pop out as yellow, and then all of a sudden you have the energy level where you want it.
Feasting wax wings. 26.
Great story there. The background is textured and detailed and soft and interesting all at the same time. The colors are pleasing, soothing. It's a very nice shot. None of the birds are quite sharp enough to have super impact. Even the one up on the branch looks a little soft. It's a very pleasing composition and very pleasing colors, textures.
Flower power.
And it's a nice exposure on this. It looks like it was taken kind of in bright light. Probably would have had a little bit more impact with a little bit more of a diffuser. But for me, this background oblique line and this triangle thing that's formed down here just kind of takes away from it. I would have explored this with some other angles and maybe so that we have the greenery and the plainer background and not the brown at the same time.
Young family.
Didn't you get a score?
19.
Yeah, but you've got a microphone in your hand. You need to
Well, she
say-
didn't give a score. Kind of once again, a fun shot of nature in the backyard that is more of a documentary shot. The frame around here does not help at all. The chicks are out of focus. There's a lot of background noise here. She's a bit out of focus. So, anyway, nice, like I said, nice documentary.
Backyard bird feeder bandit.
Did they score?
26.
What is it?
26.
Exposure on the squirrel is great. His fur and his eye and his body is sharp and riveting. You have a very strong subject. There's some brightness and busyness in the background, but you're still drawn to the squirrel and his reaching out and just setting foot on that branch. There's a little movement to it. It's very nice.
And I think that's it.
That's it.
Now for this, we want to display the names, right?
Oh, no, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off.
It's a separate level.
No, we're not ready for that.
Did he tell you that? Yeah. We want to display the titles and the authors and then separate the chapters.
You don't want to judge them.
That's fine.
No, because I can't see the, he said I'd see the score. Wait, let me go in the show. Here's the show.
Yeah.
That could be. Yeah.
There you go. Finish it. You know what?
No,
Go back, go back.
It is judged.
Hit it.
no, it isn't.
Display scores.
Second, yeah.
Keep going down.
Ah, there
And
we go.
display authors, display
And
authors.
not the title?
No, leave her, display, there you go. Now,
Slide up. Okay, now, we don't want to combine them, then now show.
you can do show, and maybe you want to do judge. Yeah, go back to judge.
Okay. I think it's the judge.
It's judge, but you gotta hit display scores.
Okay, titles, authors, and don't combine, and scores. There's no scores. Well, that's part of the title, isn't it? Or the,
It could be now, yeah.
Okay, so now we got bronze. So now we
Over,
got,
wait, wait, over on the right-hand side, yeah, scroll down, yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
okay, so there's a 23. Oops. Can you make this bigger? There we go. There's a lot.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so there's a 23.
23 here. Dragonfly 23.
Okay, here's 123.
Patty Larson.
Patty
I wonder who she is,
Larson.
nice.
nice.
Did you see another? Oh, yeah, there's another 24.
And then there's another one here, and there's one here.
Yeah, there's Dragonfly 23.
Nice job.
Okay, and the dragonfly.
And pat him like house.
Okay, now.
Now you're gonna go back to the list.
You have
Yeah,
to mark those as first place.
Huh?
Don't you mark those as first place?
That, you can do that later.
Okay.
Yeah, we do that later.
You
No, I
can
don't
do
know how
that
we get to
tonight.
how do we get to the next one then?
Just click, unclick bronze.
Unclick bronze.
Oh, I see, and then, okay. We'll get there, sorry.
You're doing great.
Okay, 15, 18, 19.
What do you need for silver?
Wow,
How many for?
the highest are 19, there's two 19s.
I don't
This-
think any of them are on.
I need 20, don't you?
I think 21.
No, that's gold is 21.
Patty, how many you need for silver?
Oh, maybe it's
19. I think it's 19. Yeah. And then there's two.
Okay, there's two, then,
Jenny and
John.
John.
You know what, there's a next group button you can hit.
oh, is there?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll do it next time.
yeah. Where's Marty?
Okay.
You're doing a great job.
All right.
23, looks like 23.
Yep.
23, so I think that's the winner.
There's a 22 also.
How about the 23 with
Laura?
Laura Marinucci?
Gotcha. That's much smoother.
There we go.
We're learning, hey?
Here's a 24, 25.
Let's see,
25
this
is
is
it?
what,
I think
diamonds?
25, fire and ice.
Oh, it is. That's the winner.
Yeah, Otis Cheatham.
Here's a 226s.
326.
No, you got more than
Wow.
that.
Okay.
426s, 526s.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you're right.
Bob Grubbs. Kathy Welch. Brian Birchall. Kathy Weaver.
That's all.
And
Wait, I'm coming. There we go.
all right.
Is that it?
That's it. Nice job.
One down. Now this time we want to combine them.
Hit them all.
You gotta hit them on top.
But you know what, we gotta go in.
We want to combine them and we don't want to display authors. Display table. And we're on
General.
March. General.
March general.
Okay. Oops.
Oh, we wanna go back. Go back.
What?
You gotta hit. You need to reset it. You didn't combine them.
Oh, I thought I did.
Right here.
Oh,
Combine.
all right.
There you go.
Starting the next.
Only 67 of these.
14.
It can be so exciting when you see something like an eagle and, you know, you think that you're taking this picture and you're all excited, and then all of a sudden you look at it and you realize that it's really tiny in the frame. And not only is it's minusculely tiny, and it's centered, and all of that takes away from it. If you've got a really tiny subject, sometimes you can get away with it by putting it in a real position of power near the edge. If you cropped out the big nest here and had this, it would be a little stronger. It's one of those situations where it's great to see it, but without a longer lens, it might not be the photo you thought it was. And he's out of focus.
Cappuccino Wisp. $25.
Nothing like spending time in the studio being creative. Just the beautiful, beautiful lines here. Great diagonal. Exposure is excellent. Yeah, nice and artsy. I think just, yeah. Shut it, Jack.
Getting ready to take off. 18.
It's a great moment with the wings spread. It is harsh light. It's hot white on the bird. There's no sweeping angle or anything. It's fairly centered, somewhat blocky, and it's a great moment. Beautiful bird, and somebody at least waited for some behavior instead of taking just a shot of a bird in profile. So it's great that way.
Ice Trillium. 24.
This definitely has impact because it's not something that we see all the time. The background is very complementary. I like the position of the flower and the uniform sharpness seems pretty good. The brightness over here pulls my eye a little bit away compared to the darkness in the center of the flower. I'd like to see that lightness in here to keep me in here a little bit more.
Clock Tower. 17.
It's like Marty McFly in Back to the Future. The blue color cast here kind of takes away from the impact of this. What? Cyan. Come on. Red, green, yellow, not chartreuse. And yellow.
Mauve.
Mauve, yeah, mauve.
A long time for those two.
So, if we had reasonable color balance and we could light it so that this guy would just pop at us, then we get more of the impact out of us. Putting him against such a plain kind of cyan sky just takes away. I may be stupid, but I'm a quick learner. I want to sleep on the couch tonight.
Try so hard to train him.
Point, do you get it?
It's a great concept. It's very different. It's nice tonal range. It's interesting. Once again, I think Jack is even talking if it were coming in at a little more of a diagonal line, it would have a little more power and sweep. But it's a very interesting shot.
So you got the point.
You know, I have to say that this is one that when you hear some of my talks about lines and horizontal lines are at rest, this horizontal line is at rest, and that's why they're saying more of at an angle, and oblique lines are the energetic lines, and that's where it would come from.
Mm-hmm. What is that?
What is it?
It's just kind of is that just the...
That's just the way the pen is made.
Yeah, but look, there's a darkness right there, you see it?
No.
Shadow. Subtext.
Yeah.
It's so picky.
Fire in the sky.
This definitely has impact. When you break it down, love the composition. The foreground silhouette is beautiful. It's sharp, tapers off back there. The purpley clouds leading into the orange, all of that is really pretty. The amount of detail right here is a little bit harsh for me. It looks a little bit fakey. I mean, for my personal tastes, I would tone down the amount of contrast right through here, but really a beautiful image. I really love it a lot.
A winter walk.
play on words that there's two R's in winter, like "er." No, it doesn't. It kind of leads you in, the footprints, the path leads you in. It looks like we're going to go to visit the Snowy Owls. What a great walk. The exposure is excellent. Just, I think it for me, it kind of lacks the kind of the punch. There's just not enough punch to it. You know,
What would do that?
well, put Patty Radar right here.
In red.
What? Thank you. Here you go. Wide angle. Here you go. You can say it. Ellen's wide angle, get down low. But that may not necessarily work.
I
There
need
may be
wide
a lot
angle?
of stuff around it. Expand it. I think this tree, you know what? This tree here at an angle is just bothersome. I think I kind of end.
The tree.
Yeah, but well, it didn't score real high, so there's going to be some reasons.
Next.
Off behind waterfall.
Control everything.
27.
That's you.
Fabulous composition. There's nice muted light on the greens in the foreground. The mist and the texture in the water is fabulous. The sky and the clouds are just a little bright, or just a little softer light in the background. It would be a 10. But everything about it is beautiful, except for the time of the day and that hot white light in the background. The exposure is great, everything about it.
Journey through time. $23.
This is has a fair amount of impact to it, and the grunge effect seems to suit the subject. One thing, though, is that when I see a subject that is almost but not quite symmetrical, I find that a little distracting. If you're going to do a symmetrical subject, then do it symmetrically.
He was gonna say something.
Winter will not leave.
Title says it all. When you do black and whites, one of the problems you run into is you got to be careful about your tonal range. You do have a black here, you do have a black, you do have white, but it seems you're missing the mid-tone contrast through here, so that the trunks just don't pop quite as much as they should. The other thing is, and you know, when we put everybody together, you know, bronze and all the things, you want to de-dust everything, because that's just a pain in the butt to see all of those and it detracts from it.
Black coat Danny. $16.
It's an interesting take on a portrait. It's got an edginess like you would see in a magazine, or like you would shoot somebody in a rock band, something like that. The way the top of his head's cut off, his hair's in front of his eyes, gives you that impression. Once again, the lighting is harsh, and particularly up in the upper left-hand corner and on his face. It's just bright and harsh.
Soft.
Is it, you know,
Where?
almost all of them.
20.
Beautiful exposure on her hair, and from the angle of her, it makes us follow her eye line and look out. The picture would be complete and stronger if we knew what she was looking at, if there was just a hint for us of what it was that she was looking at. Because normally we connect with the eyes, and so we look where somebody's looking if we can't look at them. And so she's leading us right out of the picture.
So it should be what instead of where?
All in attendance.
What a cute idea, using the bride and groom to frame the family. The problem is there's just a lot of energy here. There's a lot of energy in that you've got a circle up here, which will always take you up here. You've got this cut off. This is all kind of distracting. The tree here, I think is too distracting because it mirrors him, and you want to look here then because of that. And then your family's out of focus where I think you want it to be. Maybe have them super sharp and everybody else kind of soft so that it frames them better.
And the vignette around the edges maybe, to soften the
Morning dew, take 2. $21.
Great color combination, nice muted background, subject sharp, a little drop of water adds that little tickle that makes it a nicer shot than it would have been without it. It's very pleasing, nice angle.
Tight frame.
Flock-eared off-leash joy. 18.
The exuberance of the dog leads to lots of impact here. But again, it's at a very bright, harsh time of day, so that the whites are blown out, the blacks are blocked up, and the depth of field is such that the background becomes distracting between it being so bright back here. Do this again. Do this again when it's overcast, or do it with flash when it and do it without flash when it's filtered light. But bright light kind of kills you.
Snow-covered lake in the Rockies. $20.
So black and white here, I'm a black and white lover, so I always love black and white. I think the impact is, the problem is the subject's a little tough, because I'm not sure if it's the deer fence here, the deer run, or if it's everything back here. And then we've got a lot of snow here in the foreground that doesn't really add impact to it. So maybe playing around with composition, moving around a little bit, seeing where exactly you want your subject to be, could you add some more impact to that?
Splash. $19.
It's nice energy in the wave crashing. The rock formation that's crashing against next detail because of that large dark area, and it's heavy to the eye down in there and tries to pull you down.